Mr. President, I rise this afternoon in full, complete, awe-inspired support for the nomination of Judge Amy Coney Barrett to be an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court. Her qualifications are not in dispute and have been mentioned repeatedly on the floor and in other public forums. Mr. President, I've had a chance as a member of the Senate to vote on 4 Associate Justices of the Supreme Court: Kagan, Sotomayor, Gorsuch, and Kavanaugh. I was a member of the House of Representatives down the hall here during the confirmations of Justices Alito and Roberts. And I was old enough to pay close attention to the confirmations of Justices Breyer and Thomas. I can say to my colleagues today, I have never witnessed a more impressive display of poise and knowledge and temperament in a candidate for the Supreme Court than I have witnessed during the confirmation process of this particular candidate. And I think that's why perhaps there was objection to the process. No doubt there was objection to the process and the timing of this nomination and this confirmation among a lot of people around the United States. But as the confirmation wore on, and as more and more people came to know Amy Coney Barrett, Judge Amy Coney Barrett, the student, the parent, the member of her community, and as more and more people have seen her and listened to her, public opinion has moved in her favor to now where a majority of Americans support the elevation and confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court. And I certainly am delighted to see that and not surprised, based upon the absolutely phenomenal way that she's conducted herself. I think it's worth noting that she's from Middle America. I mean, all of our 50 states are great, and all of our law schools are undoubtedly have things to recommend them. But I kind of like that she grew up in my neighboring state of Louisiana. I kind of like that she graduated with stellar marks from a very impressive college in my neighboring state of Tennessee, just an hour and a half up the road at Rhodes College in Memphis, Tennessee, an hour and a half up the road from where I make my home. I think Harvard's a great law school. I think Yale's a great law school. I think it's okay that we have now a prospective justice of the Supreme Court who went someplace else, Notre Dame. And so to me, she represents Middle American values, and there's something to be said for that on the highest court of the land. Louisiana values, Tennessee values, Indiana values. I think she's an inspiration to young women across this country. I have 2 daughters. They have become successes, professional successes in their own rights. I have 5 granddaughters. The oldest one is 10. I think Justice Amy Coney Barrett will prove to be an inspiration to these 5 granddaughters and to my grown daughters also. You know, there's much talk about predicting how this justice or how any candidate for the circuit court or the district court will rule. I've seen enough examples during my lifetime of surprises that I would not venture to guess how Justice Amy Coney Barrett is going to rule on a particular issue. I do think she's committed to interpreting the law, to applying the law as it is written in the Constitution, as we write it as legislators, and not adjusting the law, manipulating it to suit her rule. But I have no idea how she will rule. I do know this, and this is what makes me so comfortable with elevating her to one of these 9 special positions as an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court. I know that she is devoted to the philosophy of Justice Antonin Scalia. And if Justice Scalia ever made a profound point about our law and our system of the rule of law and our Constitution, it was this: we are a special republic and a special democracy because we have enshrined in our Constitution this separation of powers. The president has his powers to enforce the law. The Congress has the power of the purse, and we write the statutes, and the Supreme Court rules on the constitutionality and the validity of our actions. Scalia made this point over and over, and it was always such a wonderful experience to hear him lecture. But if he ever made a point, it was this: any dictator around the world can write down on a piece of paper a Bill of Rights. And around the country, in dictatorships and totalitarian systems, there's a lot of Bill of Rights. The way we ensure that that Bill of Rights is enforced is that we don't give any one part of our government too much power. We don't give any one man or any one institution or any one agency in this federal government too much power. Those are the checks and balances that Antonin Scalia said made the United States special. And I think Amy Coney Barrett understands that. And I think she will enforce that concept and be true to those tenets as the next Associate Justice of the Supreme Court. So I couldn't be more delighted. I couldn't be more enthusiastic. I could not be any more awe-inspired with a candidate for the Supreme Court. And I will, with great honor and privilege, vote in favor of her confirmation.